Saddam Hussein is threatening again. He's now targeting bases for the U.S. planes that patrol Iraq's no-fly zones. American Airlines slowly returns to normal. Most pilots are ending their sick out. And clues to the weather ahead. We take you to Antarctica, where there are plenty of clues locked in the ice.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. As U.S. warplanes again fired missiles at Iraq today, Saddam Hussein shot back with a new warning for the American military. Saddam threatened to attack a U.S. airbase in Turkey, a key base from which Allied planes patrol the no-fly zone over northern Iraq. Just yesterday, Iraq threatened to attack Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for allowing U.S. flights from their territory. This is a war of sorts, and CBS News national security correspondent David Martin is covering it.
Lasers on.
The low-grade war between American planes and Iraqi air defenses that has been going on ever since last December's bombing campaign flared up again today. Iraqi anti-aircraft sites in both the northern and southern no-fly zones fired on U.S. planes, and the Americans returned fire with a variety of laser-guided bombs and radar-seeking missiles. All planes returned safely to their bases in Turkey and the Persian Gulf. Iraq's Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Aziz was in Ankara today, trying unsuccessfully to convince the Turkish government not to allow U.S. planes to operate out of the airbase at Incirlik. Iraq has begun threatening to attack the bases from which American and British planes patrol the no-fly zones, a threat which immediately brought this warning from the Secretary of State.
We have made very clear that were there any attacks on our forces or on neighboring countries, that our response would be swift and sure.
The U.S. already has sent Patriot missiles to defend Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey against an Iraqi attack. Pentagon officials say they have to take the threat seriously because Saddam is believed to be hiding about a dozen Scud missiles capable of reaching airfields where U.S. planes are based. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
President Clinton was out of the country today amid Mexico's Mayan ruins, hoping to rebuild his presidency. First Lady Hillary Clinton went along to help and found her future as a possible senator was being talked about even more than his future. CBS News White House correspondent Bill Plant is traveling with the first couple.
Mr. Clinton took to the world stage to lift the curtain on his post-impeachment presidency.
I think this is a time for reconciliation and renewal. I think what we have to do is to serve the American people, and if we keep that in mind, I think everything will be fine.
The president is here just days before the administration must send Congress its annual evaluation of Mexico's efforts in the war on drugs. Despite a dismal record over the past year, Mr. Clinton is expected to certify that Mexico is making progress on the grounds that there's too much at stake to cut off U.S. aid. Mexico is now the U.S.'s second largest trading partner. To expand on that and to sweeten it a bit, Mr. Clinton has brought $4 billion worth of new credit so that Mexican businesses can buy American. For Hillary Rodham Clinton, this is decision time. The First Lady and the President made a brief Valentine's Day visit to the press cabin on Air Force One. Despite widespread speculation, Mrs. Clinton gave no hint that she's serious about running for the Senate from New York in 2000.
Did you get some too?
Today, her husband insisted that he will support her enthusiastically in whatever decision she makes.
I think she would be terrific in the Senate, but that's a decision that she'll have to make. She just hasn't had time to deal with this.
At the very least, all the attention has to be flattering. And even if she doesn't run, she will at least have helped to change the subject. Bill Plant, CBS News, with the president in Merida, Mexico.
Beyond reconciliation, the issue for Republicans now is repair and repositioning. As CBS News correspondent Cheryl Atkinson reports, party leaders have to deal with an impeachment legacy all their own.
Today, Republicans at a town hall meeting in Michigan seem delighted to talk about something besides impeachment.
Actually, what I believe in is less government from Washington, less taxes on the people, and more freedom.
Republicans are desperately regrouping after a difficult year pursuing the president's impeachment. Many worry they're now at serious risk of losing their congressional majority. Political analyst James Thurber says the party must move toward the middle, away from the far-right social conservatives who pushed hardest for the president's ouster. But that won't be easily done.
It's tough for Republicans to moderate, though, when they have a well-organized right wing in their party, pulling the party further to the right where the voters don't exist.
Moderates like Senator John McCain, meeting in Florida over the weekend, are well aware of their party's challenge.
It's not an accident that this was the lowest turnout ever for 18 to 26-year-olds. Do you think it was some kind of aberration?
For now, the game plan is hammer home traditional conservative goals, like tax cuts and the return of power to local governments.
We want to get those decisions and that money out of Washington back in the states and to the local level where the decisions are really made.
The party's right wing will continue to apply pressure on social issues like abortion. They may be in the minority, but they're powerful fundraisers, and that gives them the influence to shape policy and dominate the Republican agenda. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Republican Congressman John Kasich of Ohio started raising funds for a presidential campaign today while talking up his proposal for a 10% tax cut. Kasich announced the formation of a presidential exploratory committee, then flew off to New Hampshire. One of the central figures in this country's biggest political scandal has died. John Ehrlichman was President Richard Nixon's domestic policy advisor during the Watergate criminal conspiracy and cover-up. Ehrlichman was 73. He had been ill with diabetes. CBS's Eric Ingberg has his story.
John Ehrlichman, a Seattle lawyer with no political experience but a take-no-prisoners attitude, quickly became one of the handful of what would enter history as all the president's men. With H.R. Haldeman, now also deceased, he was part of the so-called Berlin Wall that ringed Mr. Nixon and fought his opponents. To outsiders, he was widely seen as arrogant, sarcastic, and an unblinking Nixon loyalist. When Mr. Nixon complained about the leak of secret documents, it was Ehrlichman who set up the Plumbers, a team of burglars, to gather dirt on political enemies. Ehrlichman assisted in the vast conspiracy to keep the White House connection secret. Called before the Senate's Irvin Committee, he was sneeringly evasive.
You had no knowledge of that?
I certainly don't recall having any knowledge of it.
After 18 months in prison, Ehrlichman began writing spy novels. Some were successful. But none of the dialogue would become as famous as Ehrlichman's own advice to Mr. Nixon on how to handle the appointment of an FBI director now tarnished by Watergate. Let him twist slowly, he said, slowly in the wind. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News this President's Day, American Airlines slowly recuperating from the crew flu, its neighbor against neighbor in Kosovo, and a former professional football player attempts the comeback of his life.
I work out to keep my body in shape. To help keep my mind sharp, I take new Quantera Ginkgo biloba. It helps me concentrate, maintain focus. Why Quantera? All ginkgos aren't the same. The patented Quantera extract was proven safe and effective by doctors in extensive clinical trials. And it increases oxygen supply to the brain. With new Quantera mental sharpness, I feel my best. Naturally. If it's not clinically proven, it's not Quantera.
A proper gentleman eats one cookie at a time.
But these aren't cookies. They're Newtons.
Oh, we can't be proper all the time, now can we?
A cookie is just a cookie, but Newtons are fruit and cake. And now Fig Newtons are better than ever, because they're moister than ever.
Let's say the puppy's a salesperson in an average computer store. Now, ask the salesperson a question.
How much RAM do I really need? You don't know either, do you?
That's why we built Gateway Country, where our highly trained staff can get you a custom-built computer with an Intel Celeron processor for just $999. So drop by any Gateway Country store or call 1-800-GATEWAY. Get more out of the box.
The threat of a multi-million-dollar fine against their union proved to be the right medicine for American Airlines pilots. Most ended their sick out and started back to work today, while the union and the company went back to the bargaining table. As for travelers, CBS's Elizabeth Caledon reports they were exhausted after a long holiday weekend of frustration.
For American Airlines passengers, anger turned to anxiety on this last day of the holiday weekend as an uneasy truce had the airline back in business.
We lost a lot of sleep last night. I don't think any of us got any sleep last night worrying about whether we'd have a flight tonight.
Pilots have been ordered back to work by federal judge Joe Kendall. In his ruling, he said of the 2-week-long sick-out, the ridiculousness of this is only surpassed by its outrageousness. Kendall threatened heavy fines against the pilots' union, and most pilots, taking the threat seriously, headed back to work. Only 10% of flights were canceled today.
Right now we're back to full schedule. We only have 2 cancellations.
But the court ruling does not address the pilots' original dispute being negotiated today in Dallas. They're angry that pilots of a new American-owned airline called Reno Air will be paid at a lower wage. Labor relations expert Harley Shaken says it's crucial that the issue be resolved.
They see the lower wages at Reno being their future unless these issues are resolved. There's one thing that's been a constant in the airline industry is that unresolved labor problems don't go away. They really come back, often in an even more devastating form.
In the meantime, nervous passengers have lost their confidence, which could be the biggest loss of all for American Airlines.
A lot of people are not going to be flying American Airlines.
While normal service is slowly resuming, the ultimate cost for this sick-out has yet to be tallied, especially for the pilots' union, which is expected to be heavily fined by an angry judge at a hearing later this week. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
Union workers are also putting the squeeze on the London Tube. Commuters were turned away from dozens of stations today as the world-famous subway system was partially shut down by a strike. Train drivers are demanding job security under a British government plan to sell part of the system to private enterprise. Here in the U.S., 3 volunteer Texas firefighters were killed today when the roof of a blazing church fell in on them. 4 other firefighters were hurt battling the flames, made especially stubborn by high winds. Officials don't know the cause of the fire in Lake Worth, Texas. 2 of the dead firefighters were expectant fathers.
Sinus pain, so much pressure, I just can't focus.
Mom, it's 13 into 260.
Kevin, just give me a minute.
Mom, you okay?
Now clear the sinus pain with Tavist Sinus Gel Caps. It's new. It goes beyond pain relievers like extra strength Tylenol to not only relieve pain, but unclog the congestion that may cause the sinus pain. So you're clear-headed again.
Can you say that again? You have to fast.
Why suffer sinus pain? Be clear-headed, clear through your day with new Tavist Sinus Gel Caps.
I want this one.
Quaker toasted oatmeal, deliciously crisp oatmeal flakes, and crunchy honey sweetened clusters. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid. In original Honey Nut and Squares.
There's an athlete amongst us, disguised as a mother and a neighbor. And when most of us are still sleeping, she's running. She also takes the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and folic acid in Women's Ultra Mega Multivitamins, made by General Nutrition Centers. Tomorrow, she'll get up and run some more. Women's Ultra Mega Multivitamins, made exclusively by GNC. Live strong, live well.
It was hours after Tammy Wynette died before police were called. Why the delay? The attorney who finally made the call tells us exclusively at 6.
Former professional football player Mike Utley took a courageous step today. It was more than 7 years ago that he was paralyzed during an NFL game and told there was virtually no hope he would ever walk again. But after years of struggling to defy the odds, CBS's John Roberts reports Utley is now enjoying a personal triumph and giving hope to others with spinal cord injuries.
7 years and 3 months after his injury, wearing braces to support his ankles, Mike Utley took his first tentative steps in public. It was just a few feet, but he'd passed a milestone.
I was told I'd never get anything back, I'd never walk again. Well, today I proved that they were wrong.
You hate to speculate on the type of injury.
Utley, a former Detroit Lion, went down hard in a game against the Rams in November of 1991. X-rays revealed he had crushed 2 vertebrae at the base of his neck, leaving strength in his upper arms but weakening his hands and paralyzing him from the chest down.
When I hit the ground, I knew I was in some serious trouble.
At the Miami Project, one of the centers where Utley was treated, it was found that, like many patients, his spinal cord was badly damaged but not severed. There were still some connections that, given intense rehabilitation, may come back to life.
Most people today who are paralyzed are incomplete. They've got some sparing like Mike Utley had, and this should give them a lot of hope and impetus to work hard and take advantage of the connections that are still there and the technology that's available today.
In addition to 6-hour daily workouts, Utley stayed active, skiing, lecturing to young people, even visiting his old team. Today he came a few steps closer to his dream, to one day walk out of the stadium he was carried from.
Mike Utley will walk off that field, and then after that he will set another goal to walk 3 blocks and take his mom to church.
It's clear Utley may not do that without a major medical breakthrough, one that is closer to reality now than it ever has been. But even if that breakthrough were to never come, Utley says he is happy to have done something today that he couldn't do yesterday. Dan?
John Roberts, thanks. Scientists report an important development tonight in research on the flu. Studying preserved tissue samples, they've determined that the 1918 flu epidemic that killed as many as 40 million people closely resembled swine flu. The disease may have originated in humans, then mutated into a killer form in pigs before whipping back to strike humans again. This research may help doctors fight modern-day flu epidemics. Straight ahead now here on CBS, it could be the next dangerous outpost for U.S. troops in Balkans. We take you to Kosovo.
You may be surprised who's drinking Ensure. Healthy people. Why? Because to help you stay healthy, you have to eat right. For the times you can't eat nutritious foods like these, drink Ensure. With the essential vitamins and minerals you find in vegetables, calcium like in milk, and protein like in fish. Ensure is a source of complete balanced nutrition to help you stay active and energetic. Drink Ensure. And drink to your health.
Courage. Something shared by countless Americans. Those who risked their lives. Those who battled serious illness. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I was primarily concerned with ridding myself of the cancer. But secondly, I was concerned about possible post-operative side effects like erectile dysfunction, ED, often called impotence. You know, it's a little embarrassing to talk about ED, but it's so important to millions of men and their partners that I decided to talk about it publicly. And after all, it can be associated with many conditions, including prostate surgery, high blood pressure, diabetes, or even smoking. And the point I want to make is there are many treatments available for ED, so my advice is get a medical checkup. It's the best way to get educated about ED and what can be done to treat it. It may take a little courage, but I've always found that everything worthwhile does.
We're picking up our CEO.
Fortunately, the company cars have OnStar.
We swerved off the road and boom, the airbags go off.
There was a deer.
I never saw it.
Seconds later, an OnStar advisor calls and says, I just got a signal, your airbags went off, should I send an ambulance?
We were fine, but she called for a tow truck and a limo.
Good thing I called OnStar.
OnStar called us.
Oh, right.
The one-touch connection to people who can help.
OnStar.
Call 1-800-OnStar-7.
Her daughter's murder went unsolved for 6 years. When everyone else gave up, this detective got started. Now he's about to catch Jennifer's killer. 48 Hours, Thursday.
It is hoped that the peace talks in France may produce an agreement between Serbia and the rebel province of Kosovo by next Saturday. But as veteran CBS News war correspondent Alan Pizzi reports tonight, the two sides are barely speaking to each other at the peace table or on the ground in Kosovo.
Any who doubt the urgency of halting Kosovo's slide into chaos need look no further than the village of Rečeni. About 130 ethnic Albanian and 30 Serb families live here. When the Serb counteroffensive against the Kosovo Liberation Army began last fall, villagers made a pact not to attack each other's homes. But that didn't stop Serb police, who tore centuries of peaceful coexistence apart. I loved them before, Sahid Husseini says of his Serb neighbors, but not anymore. Now I could kill them. They burned my house. No Serb homes were touched, but Serb families have been. Vasily Stankovic is a Serb who speaks fluent Albanian and proudly shows a photo of Serb and ethnic Albanian friends together in his home. But the good times are a faded memory. My old friend doesn't greet me anymore, Vasily says. We meet in the street and he just passes me by. A few yards away is the 14th century Serb Orthodox church where his parents are buried. And where there is a Serb church or grave, Vasily states, is Serb land, and he will not give it up. That apart, he thinks things can be worked out without foreign help. Whatever the outcome of the peace talks, the Albanians in this village say they could never be really secure unless foreign troops are on the ground here. And they particularly would like Americans to come, because they say the Americans are the most serious. Ethnic Albanian men complain they are no longer safe on their own streets. And as an illustration, as soon as the Serb police arrived, only the kids stayed. The police said we should call them if we had any trouble. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Rečeni.
Up next on CBS, the key to your weather may lie at the South Pole. We'll take you there when the CBS Evening News continues in a moment.
Hey, Tony, I like the things you do. Hey, Tony, if I could, I would be you. The one and only tiger, with the one and only taste. Know how to take a breakfast and make it Frosted Flakes are more than good.
They're great.
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes are the frosted sweet part of this complete breakfast.
It's real milk chocolate, chewy caramel, and crunchy nuggets in a scrumptiously delicious bar, fortified with antioxidants, bone-building calcium, and essential protein. The delicious, nutritious Boost Bar. Get your recommended daily allowance of chocolate crunch. Find it next to Boost.
This could be the year you quit smoking. Zyban can help. It's a totally different way to quit. Not a patch, not a gum. Instead, the first pill that is part of a comprehensive program from your doctor can help you quit smoking. Zyban helps reduce your urge to smoke and makes quitting bearable. And now this can get you started with Zyban. A $5 coupon. Call 1-888-977-STOP to get yours. It's important to know there's a risk of seizure associated with Zyban. To reduce the risk, don't take Zyban if you've had an eating or seizure disorder or are being treated with Wellbutrin. Don't take Zyban if you're taking an MAO inhibitor. Side effects may include dry mouth and difficulty sleeping. Zyban won't work for everyone, but this could be the year you become nicotine-free. Ask your doctor if Zyban is right for you. And break free from nicotine. Break free from smoking.
The barren depths of Antarctica, it's a vast, frigid place where few dare to venture. But there, beneath the ice, may lie the key to some of nature's mysteries, including El Nino. As CBS's Jerry Bowen shows you in the first of a two-part report, what happens on this solitary continent may help explain some of the forces that affect your life.
The edge of the ice at the bottom of the world, and the whales are putting on a show. Cruising the newly cut shipping channel and spy hopping, as they call it, to see who's come visiting. It's a common sight for the crew of the Coast Guard cutter Polar Sea, breaking the summer ice to the American base at McMurdo. What's unusual this year, says Captain Gerald Davis, is the weather.
Well, this year was an unusual year. We had an awful lot of ice. 31 miles of ice we had to break to create this channel into McMurdo. Previous years seem to have been a bit milder than they were. It's definitely a cycle. It's definitely a cycle.
Scientists say it was last year's El Nino that disrupted Antarctic weather, and one researcher says El Nino may have very close ties to the continent. He noticed that when air pressure suddenly drops here, an El Nino soon pops up here. The pressure drop may be the El Nino signal.
as long as 1 year before the El Nino event occurs.
Is this the trigger for El Nino?
It could be the trigger.
National Science Foundation researchers working at remote field camps are looking into Antarctica's role in global climate change, and there's special interest in the stability of the Brazil-sized West Antarctic ice sheet. Its melting or collapse could cause catastrophic coastal flooding worldwide.
No disagreement that sea level would come up about 5 meters if it did happen. That's true.
The impact on a New Orleans or a Malibu being?
How long can you tread water?
Glaciologist Joan Fitzpatrick is not among the doomsayers. This new NASA computer model shows that over the past 20,000 years, the ice sheet's already lost 2/3 of its size, and it's widely believed any new melting would occur over several centuries. What surprised researchers, though, is how quickly a new meltdown could start, within just 4 years.
Major climate change can be accomplished in a very short period of time. Over the period of time it takes you to get through college, maybe.
And they know that from what the ice tells them. Within these ice walls, in this carved-out storeroom 20 feet beneath the surface, lies the climate history of the West Antarctic ice sheet. Hundreds of ice cores, each tens of thousands of years old. And scientists hope they reveal as much about the future of global climate as they do about the past.
Every year preserved in the ice, much like tree rings.
At the Seipel Dome drill site, researchers have been retrieving ice cores from a 3,000-foot deep hole, each one containing trapped air bubbles from ancient atmospheres.
At the bottom, we calculate that the ice is 80,000 years old.
Sometimes the brittle samples shatter at the surface, but each piece is like a page from the past, revealing temperatures, snowfall amounts, even wind direction. It's Joan Fitzpatrick's job to search for parallels to what we see now.
So we're trying to pull a record out of the past in order to enable us to predict the future of climate change.
500 miles away in Antarctica's dry valleys, researchers are taking a close look at some actual changes occurring right now. Melting glaciers. This year, the water runoff is 6 times higher than normal, and part of a trend.
That's not going out on a limb to say that the last 30 years have been warmer.
Hydrologist Diane McKnight says the finding is one small piece of the climate change puzzle. A puzzle that includes retreating glaciers and thinning sea ice in the northern hemisphere, and that other weather wildcard, El Nino.
There isn't really usually a smoking gun, but many pieces of evidence coming together.
And if the climate is getting warmer, say the scientists, this is where we will likely see the evidence first. The bottom of the world at the edge of the ice. The edge of change. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Antarctica.
Now, tomorrow night we take you back to Antarctica, where scientists are searching for evidence of life on planets beyond our own. And that's part of our world tonight. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on America Online at keyword CBS News.
Every story is a local story. An economic change in Asia or a medical discovery in Europe could change your life forever. Finding the connections takes experience. Making them clear is what we do, because our job is to make sure that every story hits home.
The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Experience you can trust.
Experience you can trust. CBS News.